This is my house.
Alright, what is it this time? Let's have a look at what's up next on the old itinerary. Ooh, do I get to do Dune 2? I'm getting the feeling no. Let me guess, is it Mega Python versus Gatoroid? I warn you now, I'm not watching Ice Spiders or Mansquito again, I refuse. No, this week apparently I'm being forced to review a film called The Wild World of Batwoman, and seriously? In Spanish, it is El Mundo Salvaje de la Mujer Murciélago. It's a movie, well, kind of. From all the way back in 1966, 3 years before the moon landing, and I first watched it, I think, on Mystery Science Theatre. And being from the 60s, and the completely nonsensical plot of the film, it's very probable everyone involved was heavily medicated. It's listed as a sci-fi and comedy, while being pretty awful at both of those things. But if you can cope with campy 60s Adam West Batman, and you don't mind a lot of go-go dancing and a frankly ridiculous story, you may be able to cope with watching The Wild World of Batwoman. Even if there is one part of the film where Batwoman contacts the spirit world and accidentally ends up talking to a spirit that I think is supposed to be Chinese. And it's about as sensitive a depiction of Chinese as Mickey Rooney's depiction of a Japanese man in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
You're speaking in Chinese again.
It's like Twang Lu Kim from South Park or old footage of Lenny Henry. And why am I watching this? Because apparently I coped with a movie from the Asylum too well in last week's Lord of the Elves, and I think I'm supposed to be showing that Madam Web wasn't that bad by showing you things that are far worse. According to IMDb, the plot of the movie is Batwoman and her bevy of Batmaidens fight evil and dance, and yeah, that just about covers it. As a movie, I'm not sure I've ever seen this much go-go dancing per minute of movie. The movie is just over an hour long, and there are a lot of scenes of go-go dancing in it.
Stand aside. This will be a mighty toss.
And to me watching it, it felt like over half of the hour was go-go dancing. And frankly, I'm fine with that. If IMDb is correct about this film, a lot of the women in it are not exactly actresses. According to the trivia about the film, most of the actresses were cast when the strip club where they worked was raided by the police. The casting director allegedly showed up in front of the club as it was being shut down and offered all of the girls work in the film. So together, Batwoman and her Batgirls have to foil the plan of the mad scientist Neon and his henchmen and the villain Ratfink to steal something called an atomic hearing aid, while doing an awful lot of go-go dancing. Neon has invented a formula that when ingested makes people euphoric and compliant, and also makes them go-go dance. Yes, really. Somebody actually made this film, and why? Because it was the 60s, just go with it. It's thought of as being a terrible movie, sitting as it is on a 1.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and I was surprised to find, on rewatching it, that it actually didn't seem that bad. Maybe Hollywood has actually broken my brain at this point. Don't get me wrong, the movie isn't good. Put it next to The Dark Knight and it's frankly embarrassing, but it has lots of presentable 60s women, happy and dancing, and at least it's mercifully short. If a movie is going to be bad, I would much rather it be an hour long instead of 2 hours, and it's kind of nice seeing women just dancing and having fun. A lot of cinema has become so joyless and grim, and exercising force-feeding propaganda to the audience with similar subtlety and care that people show to geese when they're making foie gras pâté. Just look at how they dress the actresses in Madam Web compared to how they dress themselves. I'm leaning towards letting actresses pick their own outfits like Sharon Stone supposedly did for Basic Instinct, because that was an iconic look. The actress can pick something that they're comfortable with that will hopefully help them get into character. And look at that promotional art for The Wild World of Batwoman. It's almost entirely lies again, like the promotional material for Madam Web was. In no way is this film a thrillcade of excitement, nor does it roar through the streets into Wildville. Batwoman never fireman carries another woman, nor at any point do her thrills rip forth. This film is actually quite boring. There's almost no action in it, but having rewatched the film, This may be a subjective thing. I was watching it because I remember it being a very bad movie, but rewatching it, I didn't actually hate it. It has good points to go with the bad. And this keeps on happening because last week I was made to watch another bad film, Lord of the Elves, starring Christopher Judge, who played Tilk in Stargate SG-1, and I just noticed the box art for that was almost entirely lies as well. It's designed to link the film to the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings and Hobbit movies. Firstly, we have the name Lord of the Elves or Age of the Hobbits, when the film contains neither elves nor hobbits, so none of that's true. This person, the Sauron-looking individual wreathed in fire in a hood carrying a knife, I watched the film and I have no idea who that is. There's nobody with a hooded cloak in the whole film that I can remember, so that isn't true either. Nor are there fire-breathing dragons, so that part isn't true either. Also, how did the Rockmen even exist as a society in that film? They have some 50 to 100 men and one woman. How do they reproduce exactly? I'm not so sure I want to think about it. Do they just reproduce with the lady hobbits? No, I'm not thinking about it.
Brace yourself, man.
Look how strong they are.
And this raises the question for me. If the people who make the ads for these movies know what will sell and know what will interest people, why don't the studios make that film? Do you follow my meaning? If the advertising people for Madam Web knew that for a superhero film, people want to see superheroes, shocking I know, in their outfits, in action scenes. If they knew that's what the audience wanted to watch, why did the writers and directors not make that movie? Why does Hollywood have to lie so consistently that I don't trust them at all any longer? It's like the series The Last of Us, where I went in, not having played the games, expecting Pedro Pascal and a load of fungus zombies. And then when we get to episode 3, it's almost entirely a man-on-man romance featuring Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
Good girl.
And then the makers were really smug about tricking the audience. In light of this, it probably shouldn't be a shock when your audience stops trusting you and starts intensely disliking you now, should it? So yeah, in retrospect, the wild world of Batwoman doesn't seem so bad anymore. Given the choice between hairy, naked Ron Swanson in man-on-man love scenes, or happy 60s girls dancing and having fun, the wild world of Batwoman is starting to seem charmingly innocent. Just think of it being like a very campy episode of the Adam West Batman series, but with nobody who has the acting talent of Adam West. Yes, I'll let that sink in. Adam West was a notorious ham actor, and there's nobody of even that quality. The Wild World of Batwoman is a movie where the acting quality would have been lifted by William Shatner being put in the cast. So from here on in there will be spoilers, in as much as I could ruin the Wild World of Batwoman. The whole film is complete nonsense. The movie opens up and a new girl is being abducted into Batwoman's group. She has something like 20-something Batgirls that assist her in fighting crime and chanting a lot. They communicate with Batwoman via wrist radios and like go-go dancing. One of the Batgirls is in a bar full of go-go dancers, where she accepts a drink from a man she doesn't know with a knockout pill in it. And nobody seems to care when the young woman is bodily carried out of the bar by two men while unconscious. Is nobody going to step in? Is that just normal in your bar, or was that normal in the 60s? Does that just happen a lot? She's taken back to the lair of the ham-acting bad guys, Batwoman's nemesis Ratfink, a mad scientist called Dr. Neon, his henchman, and a guy that for some reason is acting very badly like a pet chimpanzee. It was the 60s, just go with it. And the bad guy, Dr. Neon, has also made some pet monsters for reasons. The bad guys talk to Batwoman on the girl's wrist radio, and in return for freeing the girl, want Batwoman's help in stealing something called an atomic hearing aid from a private company. The invention has been ordered to be destroyed by the US government. The bad guy wants it because it will allow him to listen to any conversation he wants, so he wants to steal it before the US government destroy it. Batwoman is taken to the bad guy's hideout and frees the girl after Neon tries to give her his special formula, and she switches the glasses, so the mad scientist ends up go-go dancing as Batwoman escapes. She gets away with the girl, but somehow does not remember how to get back to the bad guy's lair. She then tries to guard the device and has the Batgirls standing around armed like Green Berets, but the bad guys get the device anyway when Batwoman and the Batgirls accept hot soup from a man they don't know with a stupid fake moustache, and they all end up go-go dancing. You may be noticing a theme at this point. Batwoman sends the Batgirls to comb the beach to find the bad guy's lair, and they all get abducted one by one, and it turns out that Ratfink was the head of the company that made the atomic hearing aid, because he really wants to listen to other people's conversations, and decided to steal it when the US government ordered it to be destroyed. And he kidnapped the Batgirls because he wants to breed them with his pet monsters. Also for reasons. Then the whole lab explodes when the chimpanzee man messes around with the hearing aid. The bad guys all lose, and Batwoman and the Batgirls go to the beach and go-go dance again. So in short, I started out trying to demonstrate that Madam Web is not the worst movie ever, and in some ways I think I maybe failed, because I think I may have enjoyed the wild world of Batwoman more than I enjoyed watching Madam Web. Even if the wild world of Batwoman is in no way a thrillcade of excitement, nor does it roar through the streets into Wildville. So it appears to prove my point next time I'm being given something truly awful to watch. A movie called Death Racers, starring the insane clown posse.
Fuck. Jesus. You know, I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat your